All right. First, let's give Mr. Park a very, very warm welcome. We've been expecting you for the whole day, Mr. Park.
Thank you very much.
So we have finished actually a little bit early, just so that they are all ready, to tell you what they've learned. Let me tell you a little bit. We started yesterday morning. We went through the whole process from asking questions, identifying questions, and framing the questions, and then they went out to the community to gather evidence. Now the theme is housing and homelessness in Hong Kong. So we have Korean participants, we have participants from Taipei, Guangzhou in China, and also many, many people of all ages from Hong Kong. And they have one goal, and that is to find innovative answers to housing and homelessness in Hong Kong. And so from yesterday, they have done some prototyping today, they have done some storyboarding today, and they have done their pitching, a 2-minute pitching, and they did really, really well. So I think some are ready to share their reflections. Is that right? Okay.
So I think we have 4 of you ready to say a few words about what you've been doing and thinking about for Mr. Park, and then we will get into a wider conversation. So perhaps we could begin with Fredy.
Hello, I'm Fredy. I'm from Hong Kong. I am doing education. I am a social entrepreneur. So I was thinking this would be very practical to me. And something happened. The very beginning of the workshop, I'm here. I look at the problem is housing, and I was thinking I'm only 27, and housing in Hong Kong is like 100 years problem. I was thinking it's nothing to do with me, and I do education. But after the first a few questioning and things, and I get into the part of thinking I want to be part of the solutions. And then I need to get out to the factory regions and then take a look at the housing and the ethnic minorities and how serious is the problem. And I empathetically involved in the thing, and I was thinking I want to do something as well. And then my natural reaction is how. So I came back, and then I had different tools, and I was also was learning from different schools, and I have heard of these tools millions of times, and I read a lot to take a look, and I know the tool is here, but how to use that. And then I'm really proud of my team. At the end, really follow one by one, and then had a kind of sounds promising idea for a housing problem. And then I was thinking, wow. Just 2 days, and then we figure out something that we had never thought of before joining this Global Innovation Academy. So I think it's really practical, it's really reflective, and really challenging, and give you a confidence that problem would not exist if we want to be part of the solution.
So the best way to solve the housing issue in Seoul is to invite you and your team. Because you have the solution, right?
Yeah, we are open to consult.
Okay, next is Margaret.
Actually, normally I find it very difficult to speak in front of everyone. But this really gives me an opportunity to really step out of my comfort zone and try to express what I think. And I think during the brainstorming and when we're doing the prototyping, we actually, each of us has a lot of contribution of ideas. And through that process, we actually come up with a very good solution. So I think I'm very glad to have gone through this academy and learn a lot through that and have the courage to speak in front of everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, next is Carol.
Hi, I'm a student studying here in Hong Kong, major in business. And what inspired me most and surprised me most is there's actually a systematic approach to innovation. Because in my school, what we learn or what we heard is just, okay, a bunch of people sit down and brainstorm, and then next minute a brilliant business model would just come out. So yeah, now I understand there's more of it, and how we step by step do the things. I was talking to Onyun, and he asked me what do I think of this whole approach, and I think I may not follow through the whole process if I were a social entrepreneur, but still it's a very useful and inspiring roadmap or guideline. When our minds get stuck, we at least know how to work on. Yeah, thank you.
And then finally, Silu.
Thank you. It's my honor to be last one. And hi, Mayor. Welcome to Hong Kong. And actually, I come from mainland China. And my name is Lu, and I want to share with you some personal feeling during these 2 days. And first of all, I feel very happy to work here with my group mates, including staff, Mr. Cho. Yeah. He shared many experience with us in Seoul. Especially they keep the beers in City Hall. And I think this idea is very inspiring, and we can never imagine that. And also, we have a designer here, and we have students from Hong Kong, from Chinese university, and they also give me many inspirations. So I feel so thankful for the good mate about their diversity. And the second, I learned many solutions. Learn how to figure out how to find a solution, because I know that I can do something, but I don't know how to achieve my goal. So during these 2 days, I learned many methods how to specificize my math things in my mind. So I think it's very useful for me. And the third one is about my personal growth, because before this academy, I think I didn't dare to speak to a lot of people, but I'm encouraged here, and they said, "Oh, you present very good. You look so confident," but I don't believe them actually. Yeah, and last, I feel so grateful about all the faculty, because they are experienced, and they know how to teach us, especially teach me, so and give me many inspiration and a method and support. So thank you very much.
So next time when you visit Seoul, I will make you taste the that honey, which we grow in our city hall. Right? Yeah. Please come to Seoul.
So let me start this to become a conversation, and perhaps to say a word about Mr. Park. Mr. Park is not only the mayor of a small city of 12 million people, which would make it a medium-sized country in Europe. But he has also been a pioneer in many other fields, in the field of the law, as an activist against an oppressive government, and then as a social innovator and social entrepreneur from outside the system. And now he is inside the system. But I wondered if we might ask you, first of all, to reflect a little bit about what you learnt as an innovator outside the system, about what made things happen, what made them work. Because this has been the main topic of conversation today. How do we take the great idea, like Fredy described, and make it real, make it sustainable, make it part of everyday life? And you've done that many times in Korea. So share perhaps an experience with us.
Yeah, my feeling here is that the process is more important than the outcome itself. So through your presentation, I felt you had already, accomplished great things in 2 days. As Jeff explained, I was an activist for human rights for a long time under the dictatorship. And then after the collapse of dictatorship, I used to, establish many organizations to solve the issue which had been raised in our times in our country. For example, I founded the Beautiful Foundation, which is the first community foundation in Korea, and also I established the People's Solidarity for Participatory Democracy, under which we invited many ordinary citizens to involve in, ordinary process of decision making on public interest issues, and also I set up very interesting stores, which is beautiful store, which is asking the citizens to donate their second-hand items, and then with the profit we used to help the needy people, and also I made so much. The Hope Institute, which is a think tank with the perspective of civil society, and then I became a mayor. But I felt it is another prison, actually, because I had lost freedom to fly to many other cities. I enjoyed very much to participate in this kind of conferences before, but I cannot, with my will. But today, I came here because I miss you so much. And if I meet so young people, with very creative ideas and the passion to implement it, I'm always feeling you are my friends. So it's really great opportunity, to make friends together, and I really want to have so many ideas to apply it to Seoul. So thank you very much.
It's good to be sitting in a school of the arts, because last time I was in Seoul, I saw Mr. Park's involvement in music. And maybe you might, which was not just singing karaoke, which he does, but also choirs. And maybe you might say something about the choirs competition, which I observed, which is a very unusual social innovation, but connecting the arts, the social, and politics as well. Do you still sing in the choirs?
Not really, but we call it complaint choir. So the Koreans are very much accustomed to raise the issues with sometimes violence or demonstrations, but we wanted to express themselves with singing. So I didn't know that Seoul citizens had so much complaints. Yeah, but it was very peacefully, expressing their own stress or complaint or demands against the government. So the police should be, award me because we guide it in peaceful ways. So anyway, the citizens themselves were very much happy, to share their complaint together. So I think it's a common plaza for them, to share their experiences and to share their demands together.
And does the city council now sing back to the citizens?
Actually, I can say that current issue is the Twitter administration, because I have the followers around 50만이니까 half million followers. So if I say something, 500,000 is hearing, watching. In opposite way, the citizen can write something about Seoul City metropolitan government. So on real-time basis, we are responding each other. So it means the Korean public servants who are working in Seoul metropolitan government should take care of all the messages given by the citizens. So within 1 week, many of the issues are being solved through the Twitter. Can you imagine? So in that way, I can say that the public servants in Seoul are very much suffering from my speedy, response. Yeah, sorry for that.
So, Ada, is there an equivalent of complaints choirs or Twitter power in Hong Kong?
I was about to say that there is a complaints choir in Hong Kong. It is started by young artists in Hong Kong, and they practice at the school. They practice right here in the music room, and they sing at rallies, and they sing at a lot of places. But unfortunately, I think they have disbanded this year. People are too busy, and I think the problem is they can't really sing to the government. The complaints do not really reach the government yet. And I really like your idea of having 500,000 of Twitter followers. But I don't think, our officials have this sort of Twitter response yet. I'm just wondering, how do you convince the public servants and the civil servants to accept that, using Twitter is also a very effective way to communicate with the citizens? It is certainly not something that they're used to do. Is there a way we can convince them that we can also learn from you?
Because the mayor is very good at Twitter or hearing something, So, as I mentioned, the function of the complaint choir is to make the underrepresented people to have some space to express themselves. But, I think the Twitter or Facebook is more convenient place for them to say something. So it's more speedy, and more people can involve in that process. Right.
So you have now been mayor for 8 months, maybe 7, yeah. So maybe share a little bit about how you are remaking Seoul as a city of social innovation, and what may be some parallels to think about in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think I'm revolutionary, to change the city. Of course, the bureaucracy in Korea is stabilized for a long time, but still there are broad discontent from the citizens. So it's my duty, to respond to it, changing kind of, paradigm shift. It's my duty. I feel that. So the most important thing is to ask the civil servants to hear, the voice of ordinary citizens, because I believe that the correct answer is coming from the citizens themselves, because they are the customers, and they are the recipient of the service, so they can provide correct, answer for that issue or the problems. So, we are building a new city halls. It finishes soon, so we will move in that new building around October. So I asked our staff to make a big year on the buildings. So because it's symbolizing, we should hear the every single voice of the citizens. So it's in that way I'm asking and the public servants to hear. So it's my first policy. Yeah. So strengthening the communications.
Human beings are made with 2 ears and 1 mouth, but they sometimes forget that if they are in power and only have the mouth. We were talking earlier about welfare and housing and the elderly and what are the different experiences of parts of Asia and parts of Europe, which is in a bit of a crisis of the welfare state. Quite a lot of what you're doing in Seoul is about welfare. What is the direction of travel, do you think, for countries like Korea and maybe for China as well? Will there be more welfare, different welfare, and how much will it be provided by the state and how much perhaps by civil society?
Right. The percentage of the budget of social welfare in Seoul or in Korea in general is far behind the average of OECD countries. So it means the Koreans in the past are focusing on the growth only. But it is high time, to increase the social welfare. So I announced that I want to be a mayor of social welfare. So we currently 26% of the whole budget is coming to the social welfare. So until 2014, we would like to increase it until to 30%. So it's not satisfactory, but we will try. And so among the welfare issues, I asked, I'm planning to guarantee the minimum standard of life. So if we set the guideline, it can be our target to accomplish, within 2014. And also, as you discussed, the housing issue is very important. So I pledged to increase 80,000 the housings, public housings, social housings, and so, but it's very difficult, to build so many apartments in Seoul because, as you can imagine, Seoul is smaller than Hong Kong, but inside Seoul, around more than 10 million are living. So we don't have space to build. So we should have innovative idea. So one of those ideas is to provide some, small apartments under the bridge. Because it's vacant area, so it's beginning. So if you visit Seoul, it can be a good attracting point, for tourism. So next time we will guide you,
Shall we open up for a few questions from any of you, and perhaps some very creative ideas for building new homes in Seoul as well? But also just questions and comments. Start there.
Hi, my name is Oyun. I'm also one of your 500,000 followers. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Great
so
to see
you are receiving my messages every day?
Yes, sometimes bothered by your messages as well.
Subscribe.
I'm invited in this event as an expert faculty who's running a homeless SMS, which is a project providing a social information service for homeless people in London as well as Netherlands. And I have a question to you. I know that you've been traveling a lot before you became a mayor. Also, you've been in London and you've been studying and become a researcher at the LSE. And nowadays, South Korea really tried to increase the welfare policy, as what you emphasized. But I'm living in Europe, and I've been also seeing that the problem stem from the welfare, because people are so tempered, and there's so much money going into the welfare, and people are not so much motivated to do better, especially in Europe compared to South Korea. And so I was wondering what you have learned from Europe's practice, and what we should actually learn from it, what should have avoid, and what is the Asian way of welfare, if you have any idea in your mind, which I want to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. The Constitution of Korea is saying that everybody have the right to enjoy the minimum standard of human dignity, something like that. But in reality, the people themselves have no concept. It's right. So the government itself is also thinking that it's only, only one clause. It's not real. They don't feel it should be implemented. But so in that sense, I think it's very important for the citizens themselves. It's not the article itself, but they are entitled to enjoy it. And also, I'm trying those rights should be implemented under the Seoul Metropolitan Government. And in each field, I'd like to implement it. For example, you discussed about the homelessness. As I traveled to London, I witnessed so many experiments undergoing. For example, some homeless were learning the photograph or video taking. So I asked the very famous photographer in Seoul to have the lesson for the homeless to take the class. So if they complete the final course, I will provide them to have the small photograph house in front of the city hall. So there are so many visitors, so he can make earnings with the photo service. So I think it's only one way, but we would like to have more good ideas. to make them confident that they can do something and they can make their own living through that process. Yeah.
I think we have time for 2, maybe 3 questions. Oh, there's lots of hands now. 1, 2. Oh my God! Everyone wants a question. Make them very, very short, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Justine from the Hong Kong Foresight Center. So I have a question about a systemic change in cross-sectoral partnership. So after you become the mayor, have you put any change in the performance matrix or incentives for your staff in the government sector or for academic or business in order to motivate them to work together?
Right, good point. Because, probably it's the same very universal issues in every world. We call it the world administration. There are so many words, everywhere. I want to break down the words through the sharing administration. I mean, of course, we can, change it with task force, establish many task forces, but we should change the concept itself. So, for example, there are so many words, so many spaces actually in public buildings, especially after the business time, it's vacant. So we asked the every public agency to give the details of the space, and then we set up a website to provide all the informations, and through the internet, the citizens can make appointment and paying some, the fees through the internet. So it's already more than 400. It's one example, and the car sharings and so many issues surround the subject. So probably within 1 year, we can show so many examples of sharings. So sharing the resources and spaces and manpowers, I'm very much ambitious in that issues. Right? We should break down every word, blockades in our cities or in our world. We are sharing all our experiences together today. Yeah. Of course, yeah. Oh, right, yeah. So we are providing some incentives to each borough government, if they provide it well. Yeah.
I think you were next.
Hi, Mr. Parry. I'm Catherine. I'm one of the correspondents with Phoenix TV. Very relaxed. I didn't bring my camera crew here. So just 2 questions, very simple one. The first one is Korea now is known as the most energetic city with its booming roles in cultural creative industry. Why do you think that? And also, as a mayor, do you think that people in Korea are happy? I can assume that the reasonable answer will be some of them are happy and some of them are not. And why do you think, what's the most major reasons for those 2 different answers? Thank you.
Yeah. Until now, Koreans and Seoul people, citizens, were not happy. But with the inauguration of my, mayorship, probably it's changing. Because my aim is to make the people happy. So if I could not be elected as mayor, originally I was planning to make a journey to Bhutan because it's one of the happiest country, and because there are too much competition in Seoul, so there are strong social stresses. So I want to change it. I mean, I would like to change from the competitive society to cooperative society. So with cooperation, we can produce more prosperity than competition. I'm sure that and also I don't say that competition is not needed, but with the competition, we need more cooperation together. And also, you mentioned how the Seoul could be an energetic society. According to the ancient Chinese history books, Koreans are very good at dancing and singing. So if you come to Seoul, there are so many karaoke. Within 5 meters or 10 meters, you can find karaoke. I'm not good at singing, but I can sing 50 songs. But under the authoritative governments, we were depressed for a long time. But now we can enjoy the freedom, and then so we can be creative. Of course, it's still limited, but I really want to the people can enjoy their right, and they can express everything. So I decided the city plaza, in front of the city hall, be provided for the citizens to enjoy whatever they want, whenever they want. Before that, they should get the permission from the city hall. But now they can enjoy if they report only. Yeah. So in this way. Yeah.
Okay, I think just one last question. Yeah. And then I have one final one, I'm afraid.
안녕하세요. I'm a freshman studying in Hong Kong. I'm lucky enough to fly to Seoul last summer to attend the Harvard Project for International Relations that co-organized by Yonsei University. Actually, I was really impressed by the Kpop and the fashion and art industry in Korea. I want to ask how the government in Seoul they support the young artists or to facilitate the art and culture industry in Seoul. Thanks.
But I cannot be satisfied with this current, level. I mean, as I mentioned, the Koreans are very much dynamic and very artistic people. But, as I mentioned, there are so many pressure or limitations from the government or from the society. So it's my duty, to set them free. They can choose everything they want. Probably you, experience the hard environment during their students. So, as I mentioned, I think we should abolish the competitive environments in advance, even when they are young, and also the social infrastructure or institutions itself are very much rigid and so much controls. So removing all these environments and institutions, we can make more good atmospheres for the inventive society. So please expect that.
Could I just end with a slightly more personal question? Because everyone here has been through 2 days thinking about their own innovation journey, about maybe taking risks, trying things out, trying to break down the walls, be revolutionaries in different ways. What would your advice be to everyone here about how to do that and how not to be disheartened if things go wrong? What does it take personally to be an innovator?
I would like to show you my memorizing books. So only today, after arrival at the Hong Kong airport, I was welcomed by the General Counsel of Korean Embassy. So through the conversation, I memorized 2 pages, which can be practiced, implemented in Seoul after my arrival to Seoul. So probably you are very much impressed and influenced by the discussions which were made these 2 days, but it should be more sustainable after going back to your workplace or schools. So I think it's more important to make it habit. Of course, you are so brilliant, so you don't need this kind of memorized books. But still, it's my asset and treasures because it's my habit for a long time. So within your surrounding environments, you can enlarge the creative members. So I think the Toynbee, the historian, said that the history can be changing with my creative minority. So I think the with small numbers of social innovators, we can change the world. So I'm confident you can bring big changes in your own communities.
Mr. Park, I'm actually very interested in what you have observed on your way from the airport. You have written 2 pages already. I mean, as a Hong Kong person, I would be really interested to know what you have written down.
Actually, I heard that the Hong Kong government is providing 30% of the apartments, the public apartments, to the lower income, families. It's around 30%. So I think it's very important. So after coming back to Seoul, I'd like to make a vision, how to provide. Of course, we have a target, but it's very, short-term target. So we should establish more long-term visions. So I memorize like it. So I should learn from Hong Kong and Singapore examples. And also, I decided in my mind to invite the specialist in, dealing with the slides of mountains, because last year we have a big disasters from flood in the mountains. So inviting them to make appraisal the accident last year, and then the measures we have already taken, and then we can get more comments, because I heard that the Hong Kong civic engineers were good at dealing with the issues, and so on. So may I continue?
Yeah. Thank you very much.